All right, what's going on, everyone? Hope y'all are having a good day. Thought that I would spall out some Alabama coastal that I recently collected. Here are quite a few of those spalls. Hopefully they're in frame. And I got my loaded pad with me, a little bucket to catch the excess, and a few tools that I'll be using. So go ahead and set this joker up and we'll get into it. So I recently collected this Alabama coastal. I may keep that as a big boulder. Let me see. How about this one here? It's kind of an odd shape. I like to work these down into big bifaces and heat them up. Sometimes if they're a big enough boulder, then I'll save them to saw whenever I get a saw. But something like this where there might be some fault lines, a little bit of variety in there, I just like to go ahead and spall them out. It's what I've been doing for 3 years, and I feel like I'm pretty decent at it. And I don't take my time. I go into it. If there's a problem area, I'm gonna find it quicker than most folks because I just beat into the rock. But I do have a purpose every time I do. I'm not just beating randomly. I'm trying to get a shape. For instance, this flake here, there was a lot of thickness on the side and that removed it. And so now I can kind of go back and clean off this area because there's a divot in here. So I want to remove this mass. And I might not even do that at the moment. Here we got a thin area and I'm gonna have to remove that anyways. So any areas that need to be removed anyways, I just go ahead and hit all this, just cracky. I'm gonna set up a platform. But you see that platform there's a crack, so there's a seam, it won't work. So we're gonna start here first. There's that seam. Kind of went ahead and hit into it anyways. Again, trying to remove that edge. Forget how that laid. Don't matter. And also I pay attention to where the good material is too. And so you probably saw like how ugly this piece was, and just in a matter of a minute, I was able to get it down and start seeing some decent material. Technically I could hit it here, but I got a decent platform here. Anyways, I had this stashed at my house in another part of the state. And so was able to bring some back, and now I'm gonna work them down. As you notice, good material on this side. Okay material here, but there's a big seam, and that's why we're removing it off of this face. Okay. And I'm not gonna hit on the edge, I'm gonna hit higher and in. Okay. The rock was just too dense there. It's tough. It's almost like tough coral. Again, some cracks that were already there in the stone. And now I'm gonna switch over here. These are actually some better platforms, and they'll be able to drive it all the way across. There we go. I was able to get that big hump off. Most people will save that. I usually don't. Let me switch to this bopper here. Platform here, I'm gonna hit high. Another platform. And pretty much just like that. It's ready for the cooker. And what I usually do is just try to remove cracks and get it down to about this shape where it's about an inch. No more than 1.5 inches thick. That seems to do the best for me. And there's number one. Let's see how many we can get. And that was 5 minutes, so maybe 1 or 2 more. Let's see what we have here. Okay. Now here's a really nice piece. It's got a lot of Cortex, but you can see it was from a big boulder. It was huge, way bigger than I am. But there's a seam here. So what do we do with seams? We break them jokers up, put it in a pile. Now, some can slab this like this, but really there's not much in there. So I'm gonna just spall it out. And again, some pretty decent material here. My dog's in the background. Let me see if I can get a spall out of this. Yep, there we go. So remove some material, able to get a nice size spall. This, however, here, although it may look like it, it's not the best. Well, it'll be okay. There's a little divot here, but if I hit high enough, it should be okay. But keep in mind, you don't want to hit in here, because if you hit in, it's going to wrap the entire thing, and what's left is not going to be what you want it. You want it to be pretty much down. And although I didn't get a good spall off of that, I was able to remove some of the Cortex. And now I can just clean this up, because I guarantee if I hit straight in, it would have wrapped the entire thing. And that's not what I want. Okay, remove some Cortex there. If I were to hit here, it would kind of shock the piece since there's kind of a divot. So I want to be careful. Whenever you have kind of a displaced amount of, you know, let's say there's real thin here, but a lot of material back here, you don't want to just go for the honking hits, just boom, you know, or right here, just boom. What you'd like to do is just hit real kind of short hits first, remove some material, then you can hit the long strikes. And that's what I typically do. That's decent. Switch to a copper bopper. And again, I usually go pretty quick on these, but I slow down due to explanation. Got a big seam here, or a Cortex pocket. Okay, and this one's pretty much ready. Okay, may go one more here. I like those blunt back edges. They just allow for a good strike. This one did overshot. So a good biface here, and this one, that's one of those you say, I'll probably make me a nice long bowling out of it. Sometimes, that's why I don't use these big solid copper boppers. Many do, many like them, many swear by them. However, I'm kind of partial to these. I think I got them on Flint-knapping but they produce a little bit smaller bulb of percussion from what I've seen, and seem to drive flatter flakes. And right there was just such a big, hard, way above the platform, it just shot through. Let's try one more. Random Cortex. I should have named this video how to spall out stuff from crappy from a crappy looking rock. But this is actually good material, and from the looks of it, it's very possible we might get 2 here. It just depends on what the stone gives me. You know, I tell the stone to give me any more material than it has. Okay, so little piece there. All right, now let's see what this Cortex pocket is all about, how deep it goes. I'm gonna remove this Cortex first. Again, very thin here, so it's okay to go kind of high up. You know, if I were to hit on the edge here, that's not gonna remove it. So a lot of times, if this is a flat area anyways, or a low area, I just go ahead and hit high and I get rid of the material. I do that a lot of times when I biface out. You can see these flakes are just popping off. Okay. All right, so the seam goes pretty far in. What I'd like to do is get a singular piece out of all of this, but I don't know if it's possible. And here I'm going to show you the benefit of this bopper I have, that many of you have as well, because you can hit it on a flatter area. This isn't as steep of an angle. It's actually rather flat. Antler does good on these type of angles, but for a big bulb of percussion, you want it slightly more upright. If I just flicked you, I'm sorry, slightly more up this way to get a big, just powerful strike. But a lot of times these are really good for these kind of boppers, so I've seen. Okay. Still a good amount of Cortex here, and it's okay to lose a little bit of length. And this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hit down here. I could, technically that's a good platform already, but just from how you're holding it, it seems like it's gonna break in half. In fact, I pretty much know it will. So get a little bit closer to it. And now I know a little bit more about what I've got going on here, and I can hit it right up in that area there and at least catch this hinge, at least. So I was able to catch the hinge. Well, yeah, it happens. And again, trying to see how far this can go, how far the seam goes. And I think we're doing well. Can hit right in here. Okay. And this, again, you see that seam, but it does not go all the way through. And usually this thinness is good for me. But with that seam, I like to go ahead and get them out. It's just a personal preference. Whoopsies. Raw material will do that to you, folks. Okay. Bevel that edge, ain't gonna catch it. Should be fine. Like I said, I go through this pretty quick. I don't take my time, because it's either going to be enough material to work or it's not going to be. It looks like I should be completely fine. And at this stage, I should be okay. And that seam quits right here. and it quits right here. We'll easily be able to get that out. So just like that, we got a good spall, another good spall, and I guess that one had already come off. This white one here, and a handful of flakes, which I might just not do anything with that, even though it's high quality. I know most people can make, I could, but I don't like that stereotype. I can make a point out of it. I can, but I don't know if I will. 3 bifaces, you can see kind of the size. I'll probably make one more hit off of this to get rid of some of the dense area. In fact, there's one area here I'll just, and I can throw that into the kiln too. But usually it can take a little bit more heat when it's thinner. However, I know plenty of folks who don't get it that thin, who keep the Cortex on it. But anyways, hopefully that was instructive. And the billets, I use a solid copper. This was a solid copper head. And this is a lead-filled copper bopper, and I like these. And when I do my main spalling, I use my 5-pound copper hammer. All right, if y'all have any questions, if y'all want more of these videos, if you want something specific, let me know. If you want me to show you how to make specific points or work specific material, I got Flint River, have all sorts of different stuff, Tallahassee, mainly coastal, but I can work anything you'd like. And if you want that, let me know. Thanks, y'all.